59.95.
All right, welcome to this video, guys. We are going to do a little Kandice Carrie time play. We were doing good there like every Sunday for a while, and we just life happened, right? Got busy.
Yep.
So no guarantees on this one. We're just going to roll and go a little cray cray today. See Ra today.
Yes.
See Ray today. A little play with the rays today. We're still in the equinox energies. Kandice is a little under the weather with a little special visitor corvid, which I lovingly refer to as a really bad cold. So it's nice that you even want to play today, Kandice. And we're just very spontaneously put this together because we both had a little free time, which has been unusual lately. So here we go. Do you want to just get started? So thanks for joining us, guys.
Yes, thank you for coming and playing with us. The vibes are very, very playful. And this time around with this sea experience has been just completely different from the experience I've had with it last year. Oh my goodness, just night and day, which to me, that in and of itself tells me, like, you know, we're in sort of a cyclical existence where we have our seasons, and with our seasons, like, there's long swinging patterns that we're constantly readdressing as we move up the spiral of our experience, move up the spiral of ourself, which as we move up the spiral, you can see it as a rose, right? We're the bud and we're growing and we're becoming a greater rose, but we still have some of the same themes and patterns and flavors that we like to revolve in and evolve in. So as I am becoming more aware of my own self, my own cycles, my own patterns, and how that pertains to collective patterns, you know, we individual and all that is, I'm becoming aware of just all of these things that I cycle in. And this year, I'm cross-referencing to last year, and I'm like, wow, look at the difference. That experience with that virus, amongst other things that I'm noticing cycling around, I feel like a champ. I'll just frickin' say it. Like, some of I feel like Rocky, like at the beginning, I couldn't run up the stairs. And now I'm like, look at me, like, dun, dun. I'm like, I'm so excited. I'm so pumped. We've gone through so many trials, and we, you know, for those that have been training, this is a real testament to like what we've pushed through. And I feel like this major celebration energy.
Yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny because my two experiences with the sea, I call Corvid, and I'm just going to share for those of you who haven't seen my videos before. Back before Corvid hit, I kept getting these messages about Corvid, and I thought my guides were trying to tell me about a crow medicine, because it's type of Corvid. Is it? And I kept getting all these messages about it, and I'm like, what is up? Okay, crow, it's my power animal right now. I need to focus on crow. Well, what is crow? Corvid is shape-shifting. It's a shapeshifter. It's magical. It's dark and light. It's able to weave in and out of worlds and realities. But needless to say, right afterwards, we had this kind of thing hit. And then I was like, oh, okay, that's what I was getting. So I lovingly refer to it as Corvid now. And it was two different, I've had it a couple times too, and it was a completely different experience the second time around.
Mm-hmm.
And we're fortunate enough to be able to experience it in this way. Not everybody is. Some people have really had detrimental effects from it. Mm-hmm. That's not something to make light of. But I'm definitely in a place of gratitude that I was able to make light of it. So
yeah, I want to jump in there about that. And it's like, that doesn't have to be the talking point. It could be any circumstance in your life that you've seen cycle around, and you've come at it in a different angle. You've come at it with a different mindset, with ready this time. It's like something that's come in to teach you something that's just knocked you off your feet onto your ass and had you flailing in the water, looking like a fool, feeling messy, feeling sloppy. And then you've had a similar energy come around and you're like, I see you this time. I'm going to take you on differently.
Yeah.
I've had some training and here it is. So for me, that is part of the reflection in my reality amongst a host of other things.
Yeah.
So of course, we can use, hi baby, can you go see daddy? Good girl. Can you shut the door behind you? I love you. Yeah, go upstairs and see daddy. Ask him what's happening. Yeah, I understand like there's certain things that could be sensitive for people. But it's like everything. It's literally like everything. I could say I succeeded in something. I could use some talking point and someone could be like, well, and it's like, my whole motto of my existence is use everything for the fire that you are. Build a bigger fire, build a bigger light. You can make light of everything, even when it effing destroyed you. You can still come up from that. And that's kind of my work with this reality. And it is the crow. It is to eat crow and come up and make light. It is the clown. It is the Hayoka. It is the one who walks in the shadow and finds a way to laugh.
So funny. I was going to say coyote. I was like, oh, it's coyote. It's coyote medicine.
Yeah, it is.
And I just pulled that card, by the way, yesterday when I was doing like a collective, like, what are we, like, see humor and opposites.
Yeah.
Whew.
It's a way to transmute. And so ironically, today, the sun in the tropical chart is in the 46. And that is moving from the energy of seriousness into delight.
Nice.
Right? We're making light. And then we're moving into ecstasy. My sweetheart, go see daddy, okay? Yeah.
So you said we're going into the delight.
Yes, into delight and into ecstasy. So as we move out of seriousness, seriousness is an energy that constricts us. And so the evolution sphere, which is where the earth is in, the unconscious earth, which is like our antagonistic energy, the energy that is sort of like coming in as the challenge, as the cultivator, as the kind of like the catalyst, really. The catalyst energy, or the programming energy, is constriction. It's we're in the key 25, which is universal love. So we are in the 46 and the 25 really strongly today, which means if we're at the shadow frequency, we're working in constriction and we're working in seriousness. Seriousness constricts, constriction leads to seriousness. And you are a stuffy person, you're a stuffy being, and you can't see the light. You've clamped down and you can't see a way out. So as we relax in our body and our whole being and our situation and come to terms with whatever is here, we move up and we elevate. And the next energy frequency of resonance is acceptance and delight. It's delightful when we kind of open up our heart a bit. Sometimes it can crackle and it feels a little uncomfortable. And like, as we're kind of stretching out, the buttons of our pants are kind of popping off and we're kind of like, oh, maybe my clothes are a little too tight. Maybe I need, who knows? Maybe I'm holding on to a size I used to be, and maybe I'm growing. Maybe I need to up a size, maybe, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So when we're in line 4, which is the line 4 of the energy of the server, the energy of love and community.
I love that. Yeah. Ant community. When you're talking about all this, it's interesting because more and more the messages, spider. Just saw a spider web. I'm like, oh, where did that come from? Maybe spider's trying a little Hello, don't forget, be
Ooh.
creative, create.
Yeah, dream your world into being. Like,
My goodness, yeah, you're gonna crack up. I
yes,
just read a writing, not to just to kind of interject here.
please.
One of the things that I'm constantly writing about, that I'm constantly recording from myself to myself, from my team, I call them my higher guidance team, is play. Play. Don't be so
Mhm.
serious. Lighten up. Play. Create. You're being too constrictive about your language. You're being too constrictive about where you're looking. Your questions are too limited. And when you're talking about ecstatic, I see that as the cross ecstatic. Like static is not moving, right? It's still, it's like a shh, you can't hear. So it's like we're crossing through that in order to find that ecstasy, in order to see the true cross there. And it's just this continuation of these sounds and frequencies and vibrations that we're essentially accessing through our ecstatic ecstasy, through our ability to expand out of the old container that maybe we felt held within before, the constriction. Like, and then this is in regards to what you just read, my
Mhm.
little interpretation there. And it's funny because it's always synchronistic for me. I literally just read this I've never posted it, but I wrote it, and what I wrote was creation from this womb, and that we're always essentially what I was writing was, we are the creators, and we are worthy of our creation, and we are worthy of creating, and we are called to find joy in what we're creating. And when we're in a place of joy, what we create then reflects back to us where we're at, and we create more joyful things and ecstasy. Ooh, goosebumps.
Amen. Yeah. So as we move up, like as we really come into the deepest acceptance, like I'm talking, you accept everything. You're just like, I accept that that exists. I accept that that exists. I accept that's an expression. It's kind of like you accept that everything that you witness has a right to be. You're not condemning anything. You may not agree with what you see, but you accept it as existence. And in that acceptance, you blossom into universal love. You cannot help but to become so loving because that acceptance has led you to the truth of yourself, and it's let that out. As you accept, you soften in your body, and you literally just are breathing deeper, and everything is more fluid in exchange. Like as you're more flexible, everything is more easeful.
Well,
When someone
you're not in rigidity and resistance to it. Doesn't mean that
exactly
you're not creating a healthy existence and saying, I accept that that's something that you believe in. That's not necessarily for me. It is there. That's not necessarily where I want to create. And I'm not going to necessarily support that. It's different. There's these lines that I can't accept that. Well, there is a difference between accepting and opening and just being in that space of recognizing it is what it is, and then creating what we want instead of that, perhaps, is another.
Yeah, when
way of
you
looking
see
at it.
something that isn't what you want to create in reality, it is an opportunity to say inside, so what do I want to create? This is an opportunity for me to answer that with my own creation and my own frequency, instead of clamping down. Oh, I see that. I don't like that. That makes me bombed. I'm just going to kick this can over here. No. Okay, I see that. That's how you would do it. This is how I am going to do it.
Yeah.
And it just, you're no longer worried about you are it's interesting. Okay, so I want to say you're worried about what's in here. So in that worry, you are warrior. In that worry, you are becoming the warrior that is so bold and so brave to become the truth of what it is here. Like, no matter what, here I am. Okay, I see that. Okay, I see that. That's someone's creation. That's what you're creating. What am I here to create?
Yeah.
How am I being the answer in like in absolution here? And like in that acceptance, I am just like, I feel like it's like we're the jellyfish. We're just kind of like, whoa, like responding to our reality. And we're just like really fast and fluid. Like we can really just or like an octopus or a squid, like you can just really like, if I don't like that, I'm gone, I'm over here, now I'm morphing over here, and it's like, if you don't like something, it's not like then you have to judge it and follow it and it's just like, oh yeah, that's not the resonance. It's just such an immediate recognition of like, I see that, I'm feeling more this way, and you just are led by that heart frequency and that heart sound. So as you come into acceptance, you just really create the space to really hear and feel and see like what is in here and what wants to come out and be created with in the world.
And this is a direct reflection of things that we're not accepting within our own self, within our own shadow, within our own vessel, within our own body. It might be something we don't like. Jill, by the way, this is a lot of movement has been coming through. A lot of sound has been coming through in this last week, right?
Yep.
It's like, wow. And you guys, this is part of that creationary aspect. Like, what are we creating? If we want to move. Like no one's stopping us but us. Who cares what other people think? Let it rip. I've just had that kind of happening all week where I'm just like, I need to move. All right, I need to get up. It's middle of the night. I'm like, I need to go stretch. I just got to move this energy around. But part of this stuff that's coming up is things that were static. We're coming to a crossroads. I keep playing with those words, ecstatic. It's like we are saying, all right, what's static? What is it that we're in resistance to? And let's move through it. Let's work with it. If it's in our own body, if it's in our own reality, if it's in our own process, experience, if we're experiencing it, and then you can utilize that for the creationary fuel. That's the message I keep getting. It's like, use it for fuel, move through it, utilize it. I mean, oftentimes I work with the shadow a lot because there is this essence of this deep inner fear that some people have to see the reflection of not who they really are, but who they think they really are. Oftentimes, I'll see this version of them that they think that they are, or that they've fed so much and they're hiding from it. And it's like, well, let's just take a look at that for a moment and dissolve it. And accept that that's part of who I was, or perhaps that's who I felt I was. And I don't have to cling to that identity anymore. And if we don't ever acknowledge it, it just kind of hangs out there, and it holds us into this chamber. I call it, right, chamber of secrets. And instead of chamber of secrets, let's open it up to secretion, our higher activations that then move through and help us to utilize all aspects of the self. And who knows, what once was no longer is. And then we can see the isness in what it is that we really are embodying, and we step into that.
Yeah. As I'm listening to you, it's like, yes, decomposition. And in our fearless pursuit of truth, and our fearless pursuit of view, you and I and others who will see, we're just like, show it to me. That's the only way. And that creates honesty and transparency. And those are the frequencies of clarity that allow us to truly be in absolute productivity in existence, in our own existence. And that does not have to look like anything. It can just be you being a clear conduit of sensing, seeing, and receiving, as you're in your witness, as you're perceiving all that comes through and then all that you respond to. In that honesty and transparency, you become a clear view, a clear version of you. And in that, you're your only limit. Your view is your only limitation. So as I can move through this chart of today, as we move over into the radiance sphere, it's like, what makes us radiant? We are in the key of the 15th gene key, which is moving from the shadow of dullness. Life is black and white and boring.
The doldrums, no rhythm.
Yeah, we're just like blah. We've really lost the luster. Okay, so if we're at the shadow, we've kind of lost the luster. And as we reconfigure, as we allow the decomposition and we allow ourselves to be recomposed from within, we are moving up we are moving into our true magnetism. We're that magnetism is drawing to us things that spark in us that luster, things that remind us why we get up in the morning, things that excite us, so that feel that magnetic resonance as it's like I'm drawing in, and you're like, and as you draw in, it's a reflection, it's a mirror reflection of you to remember and remember, and in there is like me, it's like remember who you are. Remember me,
universe, you inverse your own verse, your own version of yourself. It's funny as we're talking about this, we could get like super, this is just so, there is that element of people that are in it though. I was referring to it as being pulled underneath the water, underneath, they're surfing on the surfboard and they're tethered to the board. Some people are way up here and some people are way down there and they're like stuck. But the reason I'm being called to kind of go into that is it's important for those who are in it right now or aren't able to, like, wherever you're at, it's those moments, those little things, the joy and the ecstasy sometimes it's adding it up. So once you have 1 second of joy, you have 2 seconds of joy, you have 3 seconds of joy, you start to click it into place and it starts to build on itself. Because there are people who are so sad about something right now, or they're going through something, or they're seeing their family go through something, and it's difficult. I know people hear this and they go, oh, we're going into the state of ecstasy. I don't see it. Oh, we're going into the state of joy. I don't see it. Not many people that are watching this channel will necessarily feel that way. But my point is, it's not always that it's necessarily going to be seen in front of us, because that's a reflection of what we're feeling inside. Sometimes we have to go inside and create that spark. And that can be just from the simple act of smelling your coffee in the morning and putting your favorite almond milk vanilla creamer in it and just being like, num, 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 num.
I feel like we're just having a little Carrie experience here. Like, this is like the little joys that like light up your life.
Oh, I'm so happy. I'm like, I was going to let go of coffee and I'm like, why? I'm not ready for that yet.
Yeah.
Why would I? But it's true. It's like, if I can't get there, if I'm not there and I'm really in the dumps, which I get in the dumps, you guys, we all do. And I'm like, shuffling around, I'll be like, wow, that crystal's really pretty. Wow, whoa. Just like, and then in that second, I'm not in the dumps quite as much as I was before. And this is the work. This is that work on recognizing and acknowledging. And we didn't really talk about this, but this is how to get to those states of ecstasy, of joy, of bliss, and recognizing these cycles, which you talked about earlier, these patterns that are showing up for us. Like you were like, I got on my gloves. I'm like, bring it on. I'm like Rocky. It's like, I've been knocked out. I get knocked down, but I get up again.
I sing that song to my kids whenever they fall down.
Oh, I love that. I'm not like, mine is like, ain't nothing gonna break my stride. Ain't nothing gonna hold me down. And I try, sometimes I'll sing it even though I'm not feeling that way in a moment. I'm like, ain't nothing gonna break my stride. Ain't nothing gonna hold me down.
Oh my God, I
Oh
love
no. You, like, it's just getting to
you.
that
You're like,
point
okay,
where-
come on. Yeah.
yeah. So,
You're
and then when you come, it depends on the cycle that you're in, but recognizing this is the cycle that I'm in, honoring that.
You're you're cranking your own wheel. It starts out hard at first, just like one of those old fashioned cars that you're trying to get that energy, chitty chitty bang bang, and you're like, and then it starts going, and you're like, okay, the momentum is here. So training yourself,
chitty chitty bang bang, chitty chitty bang bang, we love you. I'm gonna turn this off right now because I'm going orange. Turning into a what is it? The Willy Wonka, the little Oompa Loompas there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cranking your own wheel and knowing how to get your engine started and developing those habits to fire it up. And it's like, yes, sometimes it is important for us to let ourselves experience the low notes. And I play with the word sine wave. Like sin. What is a sin? It is a sine wave. Right? When it is the up and down of life. That is literally what a sin is. It is up and down. And so when we're experiencing the waves of samsara, the sine waves, you can recognize the truth of who and what you are through the highs and the lows, and you can accompany yourself in a great accompaniment of your, you can hold your own hand through the highs and lows, and you can decide, like, even in the low, to really hold that gratitude. If you can hold gratitude through all the motion of the ocean, you will change the perception of the ocean, and you will change somehow the arrangement in that, and that high and low dip. As you dip, we dip.
I'm seeing dipping dots. You were saying arrangement.
On my hip.
I was saying array, the meaning, arrange, it changes the meaning. It rearranges the meaning, what was meant. And then I'm also seeing the notes in that. And I'm seeing this, I play with sine wave a lot too. And I always play with like, what are the signs waving at me right now? Like, what wave am I in? That's a sign over there. How am I seeing it? And I'm hearing sine, cosine, like I am my own cosigner, right? I am my own cosine. And as I see these signals, as I receive these signals, how I perceive these signals is a direct reflection of where I am radiating from my arrangements. And then I move into this space of a deeper pathology, a deeper path, a deeper recognition of my own pathology, my own path, where I'm at, where I'm headed, where I am right now. And that keeps that sine wave, it keeps it more of a coherence, right? It keeps it more steady. And it's like, okay, ain't nothing gonna break my stride. But that can be, you have to be your own hand holder. You got to be your own shareholder. You got to be your own partner. You got to hold your own hand. So accomplishment, a compliment, like you've got to accompaniment yourself.
I love that flow so much. Oh my gosh. And as you're flowing, I was like seeing us on a boat, like riding the sine waves, right? Like we're the captain of our ship. There are some captains that are they know their ship so well that they can sail in the most treacherous of waters. And they're okay. They ride those waves. They know exactly what to do with their vessel. Oh, we've got a big storm coming, and they do all the things that they need to do to prepare the ship for it coming, and they brace it. And then there's clear skies, and and that's the mastery of the self. And we gain that self mastery as we move through the waters of samsara, as we move through the waves of reality. And we're coming into a greater awareness of the commander of the ship that we are. So as we really move into that magnetism, we come into fluorescence, which is the flowering of our being. And we may have flashes of that flowering. We may become so magnetic in points where we have momentary blossomings. And those blossomings for ourselves are like a reminder. It's like you look back in your life and you go, man, I was really on top of my game at that time. So
Yeah.
be like, that's an example of your flowering. And you don't bloom just once. You bloom once a year, you bloom twice. You know, what type of flower are you? Are you the type of flower that is on all year? Maybe. Or maybe, you know, there's different types of flows.
Yeah.
So you decide. You're the captain. When do you flower? Know thyself. Learn the soil. Learn the cycles. Learn the patterns of yourself. You know, one thing that I'm really thankful for with social media is it's literally become a fingerprint of my progression of myself. Facebook tells me, oh, last year this is what you said, and I'm like,
What?
holy echo. I'm in a same exact experience that I was in last year, and I can recognize it to a T because I'm constantly writing poetry, and my poetry speaks to me of the essence of the time, of the moment, encapsulated in a pattern. So I'm like, thank you, Facebook, for tracking my embodiment. That's cool. That's cool too. Coo.
Yeah, I went into so many different spaces there. I'm really having trouble sitting still, and my whole head is like
Well, can I keep going on the chart then?
Mhm.
And you can just buzz over there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sit here and
in your being.
Onto my
Okay. So in our radiant sphere, we're in line 6, which is the line of the nurturing energy, which is again like we're nurturing ourselves into our magnetism. What lights us up? And so when we're moving into the purpose sphere, what's the purpose for us all right now? It's in line 6. It's in the intention, which is in the cells of our being. So this energy of the chart that I'm reading, imagine it in the cellular structure of your being resonating. Okay. So we're in the 10th key here. So if we're looking at the lower levels, we're looking at self-obsession. Okay. So we can see in the world how the world is kind of like self-obsessed right now, going through an identity crisis, relabeling everything. Sure, fine. That's part of the experience. But let's move up from that self-obsession. Let's pull back the curtains and recognize it's not just one cell. There are how many cells? How many cells do we have in our body? Would it be efficient for one of those cells to become so obsessed with its own cellular structure that it just starts to go off on its own and it's just like, actually, we all resonate together. So let's, set aside for a moment all of the extras about us and sink into the naturalness, just the breath, the most natural state of our being without even having to put pants on, without having to put anything on top. I am asking for everything to be stripped down into the barest butt being of your being.
Really just get into the crack,
right?
The center, the gap of everything.
Right in between, nestled in to your being. And in that naturalness, there is a fine line that is connected to all. It is that natural essence that recognizes itself in all things just so easily. It's like all life breathing together, all life being together. So it's like before anything else, what's the truth? We are all here. Here we are. And just in that are-ness, in that isness. And then, as we stay there and don't add anything to it, the pinnacle of that expression is just being and like the pleasure of just being. And it was kind of described in what you expressed with the coffee. It's like it is that simple. It is that simple when we let it be. It is literally that simple.
Yeah. Sometimes I do that as like a meditation, especially if I'm grumpy. For whatever reason, I'm feeling like I'm like, ooh, I might not be in the, and I'll just be like, all right, coffee. And then I go into this meditative space where I'm just like, vanilla. Then I think of the vanilla plants, and I think of the farmers that farm the coffee. And yes, I'm drinking organic, sustainably maintained coffee. But my point, I just think, and then I give this space of like gratitude to all of the effort that went into bringing this to my hands right now. Or I'll use a stupid coffee mug where I'm like, this is hilarious.
I love it.
I mean, this is meditate. This is the walking joyfulness and meditation. And it's really the playfulness, because I get too serious sometimes too. I'm like, I wonder what it all means. You know, like, what does this mean? You know, even the movements that are coming through the mudras, like, what does this mean? I'm doing this. I don't know. Who cares?
What if it means
it feels good?
Nothing? What if it means nothing? Yeah. What if it literally means nothing at all? Just being.
Yeah. And then
like, what if?
Well, how do I feel? Oh, I feel good.
What if it just feels good? What if you're just feeling? And what if there's some stuff that doesn't feel good? Just feel it. And you're like, what if you're not judging it and you're just like, like, wow, shifting, changing, wow, experiencing, just allowing. This is so beautiful. I want to go up this chart a little bit more because it's really aligned. It's so fluid. Like there's a real message here. And like coming up into the attraction sphere, it's like, from where are we attracting? Yeah. We're at the shadow level. Are we attracting from complexity? Are we making it complex? And therefore we're attracting this complexity, which makes it serious, which makes us constrict, which actually makes it dull. It does. It makes it dull when it's too complex and it's too serious, and then we're constricted in the details and the like. It's just like we kind of are like this rigid.
Takes the magic out of it, the shine.
So, if we can let go of the complexity for a moment, we move up into simplicity. We're resonating at a level of simplicity, which actually allows for a really sophisticated, graceful level of complexity that doesn't intertwine and intertangle and constrict us. We can see the complexity in the simplicity. We can see how the most efficient level of awareness actually is able to go and simplify everything. It's like reach that level. And then it goes up into quintessence, which I don't even know what that word means.
I am going to look that up right now because I am like, all right, so I am seeing, okay, you know what's crazy? Nothing.
What?
So quintessence, I kept hearing the song, come on, was it Come On Within, Come On Without? You ain't seen nothing but the mighty Quinn. That has been playing for the last month. And then the other day I walk out to the garage and my husband starts singing that song. And I'm like, and now you're saying quintessence. So I'm seeing the connection here and the symbolism. And I was just going to look up sim too, because think of a SIM card, simplicity, and how close it is to sin. You know, I'm just seeing like these lines.
Okay. I just looked up quintessence. So a quintessence is the most perfect or typical example of quality or class, a refined essence of a substance, the aspect of something regarded as the intrinsic and central constituent of its character.
And it's 5.
It's beautiful.
So I'm going a little deeper on that too. And it says it's literally the 5th essence.
Oh yeah, the 5th element, right?
That's what I was gonna, the 5th element, the 5th essence, the 5th dimension. Like there's a theme here.
Shoo. So as we move, so if we're attracting from the level of simplicity, you know, like we feel simple. Life becomes simple. We don't feel like we're trying to put our head through a wall to get, we're like, oh, there's a door. Like I could literally try to put my body through the wall, or I can open the door and go through the entrance that's there, made for me already.
Yeah.
That's an exaggerated an example of simplicity. We get these ideas. No, I have to go through this way. It's got to be this way, and it's got to be hard, and it's like life's just kind of like waiting, like, come on, like, look to the left.
Yeah.
There's a space right there I made for you.
Well, the other funny thing about this is it's talking about the substance composing of all heavenly bodies, the fifth and highest element after air, earth, fire, and water, aether. But so it's when you're talking about this flow and the state of being, it's this perfect combination of all things. It's almost like that womb. It's the perfect thing. It's got, and we are essentially already encapsulated within that. I mean, we're working with this fifth element. It's all around us. It's part of who we are intrinsically. It's the quintessential way of being. It's just this perfect, and it's where form moves. I'm just being called to say this from my perspective. It's where, that's not necessarily the right word, but we're going to play with this, where form moves through. Rare form moves through, where form moves through from, where form moves from and through. Like,
thank you. Oi. Okay, so I want to read where our mental and emotional spheres are. So our mental sphere, if we're in the shadow frequency, we're coming from conflict, right? And then if we move up into the gift frequency, we're in diplomacy. We're in mental diplomacy that leads to peace. It leads to and becomes a peaceful mind. Diplomacy, peace. Our emotional body, if we're coming from the shadow frequency, we're coming from dominance. If we're coming from the gift frequency, we're moving up into synergy, into communion. It's not just me. It's like moving from self-obsession and dominance and conflict to naturalness, synergy, and diplomacy and simplicity. That's where we want to come from, the quintessence, from the quintessence. And then in our heart, in the heart sphere, moving from the shadow of superficiality, right, to self-assurance into presence.
Oh, I love that. Just for a moment.
Yeah, I'll stop.
Superficiality. I love playing with that because I keep hearing superfragilistic, expialidocious. Like, it's superficial. Like, it's what we want to put on, what we think we are, who we think we need to be, who we think we need to look up to, hierarchy, right? But now we're moving into self-mastery, which has no hierarchy because all is one and all is in flow through all. This element of everything and nothing all at once in this. I'm gonna have to get it when we're done, right? Because it's like, okay, keep going. I'm sorry.
Well, I love it. I love your flow, and I was hearing at one-ment, the atonement, but it's the at one-ment. And so as we move from superficiality, here's who I am, but it's like, no. Like, we're presenting what we think will be accepted. And we're presenting
or expected.
Exactly expected and accepted in one. And which is ironic, because if we go back to the evolution sphere, moving from constriction to acceptance opens you up to universal love. So your own acceptance, instead of being superficial as to what you think will be accepted externally, internally accept yourself and move into self-assurance. It's like we're taking out our life insurance, but it's like from ourselves, our own insurance policy, from our own self, from our own truth, from our own core.
Yeah. And how much life insurance we're taking out is how much we value ourselves.
Yeah, right. This is our investment.
My self-worth.
And as we are in self-assurance with our own self-acceptance, in our own simplicity and our own naturalness, right? This is the frequency we're residing at. That opens up in our heart into the presence. And that presence is is the present, right? It's in its own word. It
And
describes itself.
And that is the gift.
Yes.
The present. I'm going to pause just for a second.
Phew. Okay, so let's move over from the presence, right? Which is the gift, you said. The presence is your true presence, is the gift that you give to yourself and the world. And as we move into the vocation sphere, the vocation sphere tells us where our core wound is, and once we heal that, how that is going to turn over and be a gift to the world. Okay, so if you think about that energy, the shadow frequency is an expectation. When we expect stuff from ourselves, when we expect stuff from the world and others, that's the shadow frequency. And when we move into detachment, which is allowance, which is actually another word for acceptance.
Yeah.
So we're letting go of those expectations.
And not necessarily being attached to an outcome, right?
Exactly.
You're not separate from it, but you're not so enthralled in the outcome that you're missing out on the actual experience and being present to what it is unfolding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not that you don't have any standards, right? You have your hopes and your dreams and your wishes, and you plant those, but then you let them go. You nurture them, and then you see what will grow. And then when it grows, you say, thank you that this has grown. If it is not exactly what you wished, you replant again, and you do it again with gratitude. You water. And as you go through that process, you move up into celebration, which is really, again, that the presence is a present. And as you're moving through this chart here, as a way of expressing the frequencies of the now, you become your own celebration.
Yeah.
Life is a celebration. Your presence is a gift that you are celebrating your own arrival and your own existence with any that can receive you. And then you receive them exactly where they are at. You don't have any expectations as to where another should be, how they should be. You allow them to be that.
Well, this is kind of like the aether and the fifth element. The aether doesn't judge the wind and the air and the fire and the water. It is made up of all of those things. And judge isn't the right word, but it doesn't say you're not allowed to be. It works with all of the elements. And then in that, it creates a higher gift of this substance. Ooh, I can go into so many different layers there. But what you're talking about too, with opening up the heart and being in that space, it's like this comes back to the sine wave. This comes back to coherence. When we're present, we are creating these waves in which we interact with all things in a different way, a different pattern, a different resonance, a different harmonic. And it allows us to move up through these higher echelons, if we want to call it that, or perspectives and perception. We're able to perceive these other layers of ourself, of our reality, and our interaction with it then changes as well. And going back to creation, therefore we then create from our gift of being present.
Yes, and that's being the captain of your ship. And that's experiencing the waves in a vessel that you know, and you know what to do, versus you've capsized and you're experiencing samsara under the damn waves.
Yes. And I was just talking about this yesterday. The funny thing is, though, I was using the waves. I was using the surfboard as like our vessel. And we're just going to pretend that there's a leash. There's a line of connection always connected to us. We're never truly separate from that board. I know sometimes it feels like we're surfing Mavericks or Chopu or whatever, and we're underneath. And there's sharks all around, but ultimately we're still tied to this tether that is connected to and through all things. And we recognize how to pull ourselves back up to our ship so that we can see from on top of the board rather than underneath it. But sometimes we need to be underneath it. Sometimes we need to be down there in the struggle in order to see and to feel and be present with that. Ooh,
yes. Ooh, amen. And that really pulls into the next keys. The next keys are the same. And so it's the culture sphere, what we are, our role in the fabric of society, and then the pinnacle of this whole chart, which is like our harvest from all of these wisdoms and realizations, experiences and accumulations. It's the same key, which is gene key 17, which is the key of omniscience, which is absolute seeing. Seeing from the center of the cell of all experiences. You are not the all-seeing eye above. You are the all-seeing eye within every single point of existence. That means you can see yourself in every shoe. And it's like the eye of the heart, the eye of the needle, that is actually the eye of the center of all. And so that key can access all seeing. But before it gets there,
helping to ground me, by the way, speaking of tools.
But before it gets there, it needs to go past the shadow of opinion. Opinion is what keeps it from seeing. So once it can move past the shadow of opinion, it moves up into the gift frequency of farsightedness. You can then see other perspectives. You can go into the 360. And then beyond going around the 360 is going within the heart of all, directly from, I guess you would say, the quintessence. When you're in the quintessence and in the presence, it opens up into the diamond eye.
I was just going to say that. Yeah. The diamond, like the shape of, and that to me, like if you play with that shape and you think of that, like a diamond, the points of the diamond, the center of the diamond, but I don't see it as rough edges. I see that as an infinite loop. Like it's connected into, it's like this, thinking of a diamond, it has all of these facets, right? All of these connection points, all of these different layers and colors and rainbow, right? Oh, you said 5. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
Well, I'm done.
Oh. Okay.
I'm like, should we make some sounds now? Like, should we make some weird sounds?
Yeah,
or
let's make some weird sounds and then we'll call it a day, because there's a lot to unpack here. And I'm just grateful that, because it's like, all right, and I'm out, mic drop. Okay, you go first. Yes. All right, I'm gonna make some sounds. If this like kind of cancels out my noise, let me know, because I did a video the other day and it was silence. I was in that, you know what I mean? Yeah. So let me know and I'll shift it a little bit. But let me see where I'm called to go with this. I love that sound. So what I've been doing is like wind. Can you hear it, or did it cancel it out?
It's canceling you.
It is. I don't know how to fix that on my sound. All right, I'll just do some. I might not even be able to do any. Cool. How about now?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Ukwa na hata hukwa ya ishia tutu ta tina tukwa kai kutu ni ta hana tukwa na ta tuk tuk tu tuk tuk
Korea ina tiki kira hai sture niti kani rauna titikia turin titikira hai na koro tutore stirina tikura hina tatakure titi rure hina tikira ya tatarahan kira yututukure tinara kira hina tititikira hai ya kure titira kure hetitira kune kira hai tukurena Kinini kira na kodore na tetekira titikura hai na raya tokore.
Ia utara ta warada dia tu tu kora na na tu 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 ta 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 tu 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 ta 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 tu 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 tu
Ko mei tikuni. Wo stuku wo kushtuku wo kushtuku wo kushtuku wo kushtuku wo kushtuku wo na te waia takawa e sto waia na tataku waia wakini waia hawa kenea koia na e waia koia ne oa
Ia ua ne ana hukuai ia.
I'm just gonna hold this space for a minute. It's like a mashup, total mashup. Oh, one more round, I guess. Coming through. Yena kiwa ya ushter ku yene titio o kai o net ini. Ma welcome kule etin kile atu kule elele na kule o na titile anu kalehan. Lele ole anu kule la o ke o ele no le na koi. Kile ale no le o aya kule la ina ya.
Ilala na no arahala na dari tutukwala na hini ala tuara ala anana na tuala anana na huala na ye ukwa halala de da ukwa wahana ya na u.
And so we sit in reverence with these sounds and these songs, this feeling of bliss, and we share in this experience. With love and appreciation for one another, for love and appreciation, in love and appreciation, with love and appreciation, as love and appreciation. I'm just very honored to be in this space. Should we end on that note? Anything else
I
to
like
add?
it. I like that note.
I like it.
Let's hold that note and end on that note and continue on that note and begin on that note.
That's right. Until the next time, to be continued as always. Thank you everyone for playing with us today.